Hi, and welcome back to Allison's Walk. Today, for my Faith Friday video, we are going to do some things around the house. It is a kind of dreary, rainy day. My kids are home for spring break, and my little one that you usually see hiking with me, she fell earlier this week, spent the afternoon in the ER instead of hiking. So the video I had planned to film this week did not get finished. We drove out, and I was excited to try a new trail, but at the trailhead, before we even went anywhere or filmed anything or painted anything, just while we were eating lunch before getting started, she fell and hit her head on the picnic table. It's one of the concrete benches that she fell and hit her head on. She is going to be fine, but she did give me a bit of a scare. I was holding her, and my hand was all wet because she was bleeding, and so we had to take her in. As soon as I buckled her in the car seat to drive her in to get her little gash stitched up, she started throwing up, and she is sleepy, wanting to fall asleep, and of course, with a head injury, you're supposed to keep them awake. So the drive to the closest hospital wasn't bad. It was only about 20 minutes, but it was 20 minutes of my little girl throwing up and trying to keep her awake when she's not feeling good. And we get her in, and the cut's not too bad. They were able to just do 2 staples, quick, fast, but they were concerned about her sleepiness and her vomiting, so they did order a CT scan, and they got us in really quickly. Most places try to get you in quickly when it's a little kid and when it could be something serious. And while the circumstances around this trip to the ER were very different, I couldn't help but think that the last time one of my kids went in for a CT scan, we knew there was something wrong because he just wasn't himself. He was sleepy. We didn't know what was going on. It was the CT scan that showed us that he had a large tumor in his brain. And while my little girl's CT scan came back good, her brain looks fine. She's on a little bit of concussion protocol, taking it easy for a few days, but she's already feeling much better. She woke up the next morning and was not throwing up anymore, and she's already on the mend. Just the experience of just sitting in the hospital with her, having her do the CT scan, brought back a lot of memories that I don't think I have processed. My little boy was almost 6. He actually had his birthday in the hospital when he was diagnosed, when we found the tumor. And that was the start of a really long cancer journey for us with him. Long in that he did over a year of chemo, but also emotionally long because those first few months did not go well. He walked in, he was talking to the doctors, telling them jokes. In fact, we realized that we needed to take him in because his smile had become lopsided. You would tell him a joke and he would smile, but the right side wasn't going up. It was just a sideways smile. And so we're in the emergency room telling jokes. He was sleeping. And then within a couple months, he was just laying there in the bed. He couldn't talk. He didn't eat. He had a tube. They had to put a drain in to relieve pressure in his brain. He completely lost the use of his right side. It really didn't look good. And he's fine right now. He went through chemo and he's regained a lot of what he lost. He came out of it not being able to talk at all, but now he'll talk your ear off. He still has some weakness on his right side. He lost his peripheral vision on his right side. He's not the same kid that I took in to the ER, but he did come out of it, and not everyone does. I have a friend who just recently lost her little girl to cancer, and I know the statistics for kids with cancer are not good. It could have gone much worse, and we're so glad to have him with us. I don't even know if I'm going to use this footage. I just needed to start somewhere. So, here I am, telling you what's up with my life. I have been struggling the last couple days just because taking my little girl in and reliving some of those memories, it's made it an emotionally heavy couple of days. I'm gonna be okay, and I know that I'm not the only one who has hard things to go through. And I love to paint a pretty picture. But I think some people don't understand why it's so important to me to get out in God's creation, to take my kids hiking and camping. But I think there's a reason that when you look at the Psalms and so many of the books of prophecy, I'm thinking especially of Isaiah, I think there's a reason that they so often use creation, the sky, the clouds, the trees, to paint a picture for us, to help us to learn about God. Spending time in God's creation is so life-giving for me, and it helps me put things into perspective. And I think that it can be very easy to get stuck inside. We try to make our homes so comfortable. I think taking my kids out and hiking with them, taking them camping, these are harder things, but so worthwhile. They build character and they help put things in perspective for me. We're not promised tomorrow, so let's make the most of today. And if that means that you can get out and go for a hike and smell the roses and notice the spring flowers, I say go for it. If that means that today is a cozy day at home while the rain is falling outside, make sure you are present with your family. Make the most of it, whatever stage you are in today. How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. And in whatever he does, he prospers. The wicked are not so, but they are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Picture of a tree firmly planted by streams of water. That's a picture of someone who is trusting in God and looking to His Word. As I was thinking about what to share related to this idea of prioritizing what you do with your time and the idea of navigating when things feel hard, finding peace in difficult situations, I was actually surprised that so many of the verses kept pointing me back to God's Word. If you want to be a tree planted by streams of water who continues to yield good fruit throughout the seasons, the importance is to be grounded in God's Word. The tree needs water, and we need God's Word. And again in Isaiah 55, starting in verse 6, it says, "Seek the Lord while He may be found. Call upon Him while He is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return to the Lord, and He will have compassion on him, and to our God, for He will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and do not return there without watering the earth, and making it bear and sprout, and furnishing seed to the sower, and bread to the eater, so will my word which goes forth from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, without accomplishing what I desire, and without succeeding in the matter for which I sent it." God's word is living and active, and it will accomplish what He sets it out to accomplish. God's ways are greater than my ways. And again with that picture of creation to illustrate, for as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and do not return there without watering the earth, these spring showers that God is sending bring the flowers, bring the green, bring life. In verse 12 it says, "For you will go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth into shouts of joy before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands." That's the verse I was looking for when I found this passage. A verse that ties together joy and peace and gives us that picture from God's creation. The mountains and the hills will break forth into shouts of joy before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. What are these verses talking about? They are written to God's people, exhorting them to seek the Lord, that the wicked would turn from their way, that we would trust God, because His thoughts, His plans are not our plans, but they are so much better. God brings the rain, brings life, and I trust Him. God's word accomplishes this. It helps me to go out with joy and to be led in peace. And I see this in my own life, that when I stop looking inward and focusing on all of the things that I'm afraid of, all the things that are hard for me in this season, and instead am able to keep my eyes on God, on His Word, and on a future hope, then I can have joy and peace. In this passage, God is talking to His people, Israel, and telling them that there will be a future for them, where instead of thorn bushes, the cypress will come up, and instead of the nettle, the myrtle will come up, and God restoring His people, restoring their land. This will be a memorial to the Lord, for an everlasting sign which will not be cut off. God promises to care for his people. He promises that even as we face trials now, there is a future. And this is true for God's people, Israel, and it's true for you and me. I don't know what you are going through, but I'm praying that you will turn to God and see hope in your future. Sometimes God brings healing, and sometimes he brings people home. And so let our eyes be fixed on God and the hope of heaven. And then, even when things don't go the way we plan, even when we face trials, our hope can be steadfast in him, and our peace can be found in him. And then I think we will be surprised by joy. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember to walk in love, walk in light, and walk in wisdom.